Hi guys, Lemmy here. Welcome back to another art review. Today we are going to be looking at the White Nights artist watercolor set of 36 colors. Sorry if you hear my dog, she's kind of crawling on my back right now. It says here that they're extra fine artist watercolors and there are 36 colors, and these are full pans, not half pans. So I'm looking for an inexpensive watercolor set that is artist quality paints. These are from Russia. I'm looking for the English here. Okay, it says the White Nights Extra Fine Artists Watercolor Series is manufactured with finely dispersed and light fast pigments. The paint structure also comprises gum arabic. This results in a quality paint, giving artists full assurance when completing important artwork. So it says it's light fast, and that's what's most important to me because I don't want a finished piece that I've made fading out over time. I'm trying to open this now. I got this set for Christmas from my mom. She purchased it off of eBay, and I believe it was like $60. Okay, this is not opening this way. I'm just going to open it this way. This was like $60 US dollars, and which is really inexpensive for 36 full pans of artist quality watercolors. This is by a company called St. Petersburg, or that's where it's from. I'm kind of confused because some companies call it Yarka, but that's not actually the company that makes it. But if you look on Dick Blick or a website like that, it's filed under Yarka. Okay, so this is a really nice travel set. It has a firm plastic. You see these like wells over here for mixing, and also over here you have like these little sections out. These you can put the paint in and they shouldn't move around. These, if you're not careful, you can accidentally end up mixing because it's a curved lid over here. This is nice because you have a place to put a brush for travel purposes. And over here you can see all these beautiful colors. This is in another language. I don't know what it means, but it comes with it. So if you know what that means, feel free to tell me. It also comes with this little watercolor paper that you can sample out the colors on, and then you'll know what color is where. So I'm going to actually end up filling this out once I open up each individual pan here. So it looks like they come, whoa, I just threw it. They come out really easily. They have like these little places you can slip your fingers into. But this also tells me that they're not really being held in place very firmly. I have another kind of palette that snaps the pans into it so they don't move. So that's something I'll be looking for, is if they move around when you close it. But I think if you close this lid first, it doesn't really give a lot of room because these are very shallow. I don't think it will give them a lot of room to kind of pop out and move around. And look at all these colors. They look so pretty here. So I'm going to give you a moment to look at these colors, and then I'm going to begin the extremely long process of actually unwrapping each of these. So here are the actual cakes, and I guess the only con I have about this set is what you can see here. On top of each cake of color, you can see a little bit of white, and that white is scraps of the wrapper, because when I tried to remove the wrapper, it seems like they didn't let the watercolor set long enough so that it was completely solid before they put the wrapper on. So when I removed the wrapper, part of the wrapper actually stuck to the paint, which, you know, if you put some water on it, you can remove it, but it's just a pain in the butt, and I don't want to waste the pigments. So I mean, that's just a little something annoying, but that's the only con of what I found about these watercolors, because I absolutely love them. Now, something to keep in mind is that the palette itself, the part of the palette that has the little rectangles, the shallow rectangles, that part is removable. So that is really helpful for me, especially because I have a very limited workspace. So I really love how innovative that is, where I can take something, remove it if I don't need it, and then attach it back to the palette if I want it to be on the palette. And I really like companies who look at a palette and think of how can we make this more functional for the artist. So I really appreciate that. I really love the palette. It's gorgeous. Like I was concerned earlier that the cakes and the pans would move around inside. I'm not so worried about that now because, well, for example, Winsor & Newton, when you get a pan of watercolor, they take the cake and they place it inside of the bed or the pan so that they're actually two separate entities. So if I were to drop my palette, which I have done many times before, on the ground, the pan will be removed. It will fall out of the palette, and then out of the pan will fall the cake of watercolor. So these won't be going anywhere because it is firmly cemented in there. They actually put the formula in there to dry. So I'm saying cemented loosely. We're not actually using cement in our artwork, but you get what I mean. They're not going anywhere. So when you close up your palette to take it with you on the go, you don't have to worry about any of your cakes hitting around or breaking. After using the watercolor, none of the cakes seem to crack or flake at all, which is extremely common with gouache, which is another type of watercolor, but also cheaper paints do flake and crack as well. And you should see one of my other palettes I have. There's just chunks, like little chunks everywhere. So these are all staying put. They are not going anywhere. And I also like to keep a piece of paper towel inside of the container as well as the swatch pad. So if you put those two pieces of paper down first and then you close up your palette, nothing's going to be moving anywhere. So that's no longer a concern of mine. Now, the colors themselves are absolutely beautiful. I really love this set, and I think it will be my go-to set from now on. I really love all the colors that are included. They're very bright, they're beautiful, they're vibrant, they're pigmented. If you use a little bit of water, you can get a lot of pigment so that it is opaque when you lay it down. Now, when I say opaque, don't think like acrylic paint or some other kind of paint. Simply that means I'm picking up a lot of pigment and a lot of color so that if I lay it on top of a line, you can actually cover up that line with the paint and you won't see it beneath. That's what opaque means. It means you can't see through it. Now, if I wanted to take a little bit of water, I could totally thin that down and make it so that you can see through it and it's translucent. So there's a wide range of what kind of colors you can accomplish with this set, and I absolutely love them. Now, would I think that this is good for a beginner? Because I get a lot of comments from, I guess, kids. I mean, I guess they could be adults too, but usually people are like, oh, I'm 10 and I want to buy a watercolor set. So new artists in general, doesn't matter the age, would this be a good set for a new artist? And I would have to say, from personal experience, no, it would not be. And you're going to say, well, why is that if you love these so much? And it's a really silly, I guess, explanation. And that is because there isn't a peach. There isn't a peach color. And a lot of people would be like, that's ridiculous. You know, you can mix a peach color or like a pale skin tone, whatever. But when you're first starting out, it is hard to mix anything and get the exact color you want. I remember being so frustrated that the color I made was never exactly the color I wanted. And I remember whenever a set of anything had a peach skinish color, I was always gravitated to that sort of set of whatever supply it was. And while, yes, you have to learn to mix your own skin colors eventually and things of that nature, when you're first starting out, if you have that peach color as a base
color, and then you say, okay, well, this is what I have. What can I add to it to get more accurate what I want? So like maybe I want it to be a little bit darker. Maybe I should add some like raw sienna or burnt umber or like something, and then you can use that base to work off of. This set has like very different looking colors, as in like there's a bunch of different yellows, there's a bunch of different blues, there's a bunch of different browns. You could probably accomplish a darker skin tone with this set, but you would still have to learn how to subdue those colors and adding different amounts of water to get lighter colors versus like the more vibrant pigmented colors, and how to mix them and which colors will tone down the other colors and all that thing. Plus there's like 36 colors of the set that I reviewed. So I feel like it would be a little bit overwhelming for a beginner artist to have this set. And personally, I would go with one of the other sets I reviewed, namely the Sakura Koi watercolor set that I've reviewed, because it is smaller, it's more manageable, it's easier to mix colors and see how certain colors affect other colors, and their palette is more subdued and like concise to what like a beginner would need or like try to experiment with, whereas this is more like, okay, you know how to mix everything, and now here's your giant cakes, go have fun. So while I absolutely love this palette, I don't think I would recommend it to a beginner artist. So I hope that you guys found this information helpful, because when I look at these supplies, I try to think, what would you guys want to know from this set? I mean, for someone who's looking for something professional and they already have that foundation, this set is great. I love it. It's like traditional watercolors. It's not like the Gonzai Tambi ones I reviewed, which were more like inky in texture. These I really love, and they're really affordable. If you happen to run out of a certain color, you can get the individual pan to replace it, which I'm a big fan of because not all companies do that. Another thing to keep in mind is that none of the pans are actually labeled, and I know Winsor & Newton labels their pans so that when you're done you look at it and it says this was Prussian blue, so then you go, okay, I need to order Prussian blue. This set doesn't have any labeling whatsoever, so it's important that you don't mix up the order in which your pans are, because if you do the sampler and you write down all the names, which I suggest you would do because the only place you can see the names is on the wrapper that you removed and threw away, you might have to write everything down meticulously to figure out which goes in what slot, what's the color name, or just write the color name directly on the pan itself. So that's a little bit of a warning. Going into it, you probably want to think about that before you start throwing away all the wrappers. That could be a little bit of a mess. So I guess that could be a con, right? The little white wrapper in the cake, and you have to write down the name on the pan. So that's about all I have left to say about these paints. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments section and I'll do my best to get back to you. I don't know everything, but I do try to get back to you if I'm pretty sure I can accurately answer your question. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week for another art video. I also have another art supply review coming up soon that might be of interest to you guys, because when I first started my YouTube channel, I worked a lot with Crayola crayons, so it's another kind of crayon that, I don't know, I'm excited to do this review. I think it will be fun. So I'll talk to you guys real soon. Take care. Bye.